Hello and welcome back to my channel. So let's resume from where we had actually left off in the previous video. This is the part 2 of the video where we are discussing what are exactly Turing machines and how we can solve basic problems based on Turing machines. So if you are still not aware of my channel, then I request you to kindly subscribe to my channel so that you will get continuous updates on whatever new happens in the channel. Also, if you have not followed the part 1 of this particular video, I would request you to kindly click on the cards up over there for understanding basically what exactly is Turing machine, start the problem and then come back to this part 2 of the video. So let's resume the particular problem we are having in hand. So the problem is a raised to n, b raised to n, and we need to construct a table for this. So let's see how we can construct a table based on the information we are having in hand. So the very first thing is you need to construct the table with all the rows and columns aligned like this. Along the columns, we will be having the inputs. For example, we are having basically two inputs, A and B. But along with those inputs, we are having few more inputs for example, X, Y, and B, which we are using to highlight whatever operations we are performing on the Turing machine input tape. So what are the various states? We are having Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3, and QF state, where Q0 is corresponding to the state where we are accepting A's, Q1 is the state where we are accepting B's and moving left, Q2 is the state where we are coming back to the initial state Q0, that is the comeback state, Q3 is the check state where we are checking whether any more inputs are left on the input tape, and QF is the final state. So these are the states along the rows, and the columns will be having the inputs. So what exactly you need to do is you simply need to check the diagram and write down the transitions and the outputs of those transitions. For example, in Q0 state, I have to check for input A. So in Q0 state for input A, I am making a transition to Q1 state, right? And what is the condition at that particular point of time in state Q0? That is, on input A, I am replacing it by X and moving the pointer to the right. So the same thing I need to highlight over there by doing something like this. It will be Q1 comma X comma R, right? Same way, in the same fashion, check whether Q0 has any more inputs. I can see that Q0 has only one more input, that is Y, and there are no more inputs for B, X, and capital B. So in the columns corresponding to B, small b, that is capital X, and capital B, that is blank, I would put a dash because there are no entries for those inputs. I'm only having an entry for the input capital Y. So I will simply write it down in the same fashion, that is, it is going to the state Q3 comma Y comma R. That is, in state Q0, if I'm encountering an input Y, I will jump to state Q2, replace Y by Y only, and move to the right. In the same fashion, you have to complete the entire table. I will pause this video for a while. You can you can complete this particular table and come back to the video to check and verify your answers. So after completing the table, I will be having something like this. So I hope you have got your answers and verified with this particular answer which I'm having in front of you. If you are not able to get the answer, you can simply use the comment section and leave your message over there. I would definitely try to help you out. Now let's just move to the final step, which is the simulation or the example based on this particular logic which we have created. To avoid scrolling over and over again, I have redrawn the diagram for your convenience over here. I am taking a raised to n, b raised to n. So keeping it short, I am taking the value of n as 2. So we are having an example such as double A double B. Initially the machine is in state Q0. So once the machine is in state Q0 and it encounters an input A, it simply replaces that by X and makes a transition to the state Q1. That's what we can see over here from this diagram. Okay, so once the machine is in Q1, it will again check the input. Again, in this case, it is A. But according to our diagram, if in state Q1 I'm encountering an A, the machine will keep the A as it is and loop in the same state. So in short, we are bypassing that A, remaining in the same state until and unless we get the small b as the next input. So over here I'm in state q1 only, and the pointer has moved to the next input, which is in this case small b. So now I am in state q1 and the input is b. What should I do? I should replace that b by a y and make a transition to the left. That is what we have shown over here in this particular transition from q1 to q2. So here the machine will make a transition from q1 state to the q2 state, but it will move to the left and replace the small b by y. So over here in step number 4 over here, I am currently in state q2 and the input is a. So if I am in state q2 and the input is a, what should I do? I should simply replace the a by a only, that is I'm keeping the a constant and making a transition to the left. Okay, so over here I'm keeping the A as A only and moving to the left to the state Q2 only, because I'm simply bypassing the inputs. Whatever be the inputs, I'm simply bypassing them and moving the machine to the left. So over here, I made a transition from Q2 to Q2 only by keeping the A constant and moving to the left. Now over here in step number 5, I am in state Q2 and the header or the pointer currently pointing at X. So in state Q2, if I am encountering an X, what I should do? I should simply keep the X as it is and start moving to the right and go to the state Q0. Here that's exactly what I have done. I have moved the pointer to the state Q0 and the currently pointing input is A, right? So now I'm in state Q0, I'm again back to square one. I will repeat the entire process once again till uh, till over here step number 10. Still step number 10, I have repeated the entire process. Now in step number 10, what is happening? My input is at state Q2, it is pointing at X. It will again replace that X by X and move to right. So now initially where I had started from, I am again back to that particular point, that is in state Q0. So in state Q0, if I receive a Y input, what should happen? I should keep the Y as it is and start moving to the right. So basically now I have made a transition from the initial state to the check state, that is Q3. So here I will try to check whether any more inputs are left using this particular transition. So I'm moving to the right, replacing the Y by Y itself, moving to the right. So the next transition, that is in step number step number 12, it will be the machine will be in state Q3 and the pointer will be pointing at Y, because in the previous step I had moved to the right. So now I am pointing to Y and the machine is in state Q3. So according to my diagram, I should keep the Y as it is and move right. So now if I move right, the machine will remain in Q3, but the pointer will now move to the blank symbol. So now I am uh, going to read a blank symbol for the very first time, but now I am in state Q3. So if I encounter a blank symbol in state Q3, what should I do? I should simply indicate to the machine that we have reached the end of the string and now we should move to the final state, indicating a stationary or stop symbol. That is, I will remain in the same position in the input tape without moving left or right. I will simply jump to the QF state and indicate a stop signal to the machine or a stationary signal. So this is how we construct a Turing machine, a very basic Turing machine, using the very basic logic of moving to the right, replacing the characters by any particular symbol, and then after finding the corresponding entry for that symbol, we move to the left, we go to the initial state, we go to the check state to find whether any more inputs are left or not, and at the end we make a transition back to the final state with a stationary symbol indicating that we have reached the end of the input string. Thank you so much for being in constant touch with me through your comments, your likes, your shares. I would also like you to subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed to it, and press the bell icon to stay in touch with all the happenings around my channel. Thank you so much.